Hi, today let's talk about child tax credit and child and dependent care credit. These are the two tax credit related to your children. So if you have dependents or children, or you have other dependents, you may be able to qualify this credit. The first credit we would like to talk about is the child tax credit. The government increased the amount of money credit to families from $2,000 to entire credit is refundable this year. So if you have a dependent child who is under the age of 6, and that child could qualify for $3,600 tax credit, or you have children up to the age of 17, and that child can also qualify for $3,000 tax credit. So in the past, only for children can qualify for tax credit under the age of 17, meaning that if you're age 17, you may not able to get the credit. So who can have it? The main measurement is that based on the total income of a household. So if it's a married filing jointly, your the total income is less than $150,000, or your single parents have a child or children as your dependents, your total income is under $112,000, you may qualify. So if your income is over that limit, the credit will reduce. So how to claim the child tax credit? In 2021, the IRS actually began sending money to working family who have children beginning in July 2021. So it's broken up into monthly payment, which means that the payments of up to $300 per child under age 6 and $250 per child under the age 6 to 17. So most of the family by the end of the year of 2021 already received at least half of the tax credit. So if you have one qualified child could qualify for $600 tax credit, half of that the IRS already deposit to your bank account or already send a check to you. So make sure you check your bank account or log into the IRS online account to take a look, see if you already received that payment. If you have not, you can always file a tax return and claim the tax credit. So on line 19 and 28 of page 2 for your 2021 Form 1040 is where you claim your tax credit. So in the past, portion of the tax credit, the child tax credit, 30% of it is non-refundable and 70% is refundable. So in 2021, if it's totally refundable, so they will be reported on line 28. So for some low-income family, if they have not received the child tax credit or they let the government know that they need help on that, here is actually a summary from the White House where you can go to the childtaxcredit.gov and to sign up for the tax credit. So the second tax credit we'll talk about is the child care tax credit. And child tax credit is a credit dollar for dollar. Right? In 2021, there is a big change in child care tax credit too. There's a little difference between the two credits. So for child care tax credit, taxpayer can now claim up to $8,000 in expenses for one child. So pay attention to this. $8,000 is the expense. So if you have 2 or more children, then you can claim up to $16,000 expenses for the additional care. So this is a one-time expansion for 2021. It did not happen before. It may not happen in 2022 unless the government expand that credit or that expansion. So that increased the maximum return rate for childcare expenses from 35% to 50%. So what does that mean? Meaning that the $8,000 for one child expenses, you can claim a tax credit for $4,000. So 50% of it, you can claim the credit. So you pay $8,000 for care, then you get a credit for $4,000. And remember, this credit is non-refundable, meaning that if you have tax liability, you can use this credit to offset the tax liability. So in a way that you get some refund for the tax that you pay. So in prior year, the maximum return for the credit was $1,500 for one child and $2,100 for two or more child. So that is the 35%. So what kind of expenses will qualify for this credit, the child care tax credit? So if you send your child to daycare and you hire in-house nanny, caregiver, you hire transportation to take the child to care providers, or you register your child to before or after school care programs or day camps when you are at work. So those expenses qualify. But however, there are expenses if expenses paid to your spouse or relative, which you didn't pay your relative, or for babysitters that you pay under the table, those are not qualified. So here's a Form 2441, Child and Dependent Care Expenses. We have seen some clients come to us at the end of the year. A lot of them have daycare expenses, but they have one common. They forgot to get the information of their care provider. So in order for you to claim these expenses or credit, you need to provide the persons or the organization who provided care. You need to get their information, their name, and their tax ID. So look right here, when I highlight this form right here, those are the information we need to provide. If not, this form is incomplete, that you may not be able to get the credit or the deduction. So who qualify for the child care tax credit? So for child tax credit is based on the total income, correct? For child care tax credit is not only based on the income. First of all, let's go based on the income. Is if your household income is $125,000 or less, then you may claim the full credit. There is other requirement as well. So if your household income is over $125,000, that 50% of the credit will reduce by 1% for every $2,000 earned over this limit until you reach $183,000. And then $183,000 to $400,000, then you will get 20% of the tax credit. So if your total income is over $438,000, basically you're a high income individual, a high income family, you don't need the assistance from the government. So at this moment, the credit is going to phase out, meaning that you will not be able to claim the credit. There's more qualification requirement on the child. The child have to be under the age of 13, or the child who is over the age of 13 or older, meaning that they cannot provide help for themselves, or they either have physical problem or mental incapability to self-care. And another requirement is that both parents have to have earned income, meaning that both of you have to go to work to support the family. So if you have one spouse staying home, then without earned income, that means you cannot claim for the credit. You cannot qualify for the credit. For the other credit, child tax credit, that work even when parents is at home, you can still qualify. Now, just a quick summary. What is the qualification? The child have to be under age of 13 unless it's mentally or physically disabled, and both parents need to have earned income. So how do you claim both credit? Right here. On 9/19 and 28 is where you claim the child tax credit, right? On the 20 is where you claim the child care tax credit. So there are two very sweet credit in 2021, and don't miss that. Now it's a summary. Child tax credit for children who's under the age of 6, you can qualify for $3,600. And for children who's between 7 to 17, they can get $3,000 per child. And child care tax credit is basically you can claim credit based on $8,000 for one child or $16,000 for two or more child. These are the expense amount. So 50% of this amount can be the tax credit. And both credit, they are related to child or dependent care. They are dependents. So the first one, child tax credit in 2021, is a refundable credit. In a normal year, only 70% is refundable, 30% is non-refundable. Child care tax credit is non-refundable. So just a quick summary. If you have any question, please leave a message or please make sure you consult your tax advisor, see how your specific situation will suit for this two credit. And thank you for listening. So for next section, we probably talk about the earned income tax credit, which some people come and ask about this topic quite often. So if you have any question, leave a message, and otherwise, thank you and talk to you next time.